Welcome back to the spoiler review here on Max Talks Movies, and today I'm breaking down the season 2 finale, episode 10 of the Apple TV Plus show, The Afterparty. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. I do movie reviews, these types of TV show reviews, movie rankings, and every Monday I do a box office breakdown show. So please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new to the channel. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on this season of The Afterparty? Did you think it was better or worse than season 1? Do you want to see a season 3? If there is a season 3, which characters do you want to see come back, even if they're from 1 or 2? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I do respond to every single comment, so please comment. I'll have a nice fun back and forth with you. Also, please like the video, guys, the thumbs up button. That's how you support this channel the best way. It helps the YouTube algorithm. So the more you guys hit that like button, the more people on YouTube can be recommended to my video. So please, please, please help the channel out by hitting that like button. So I think I got through the first 4 or 5 episodes of doing breakdowns on this channel. Due to personal reasons and scheduling, I had trouble fitting in the after party as my usual time I was watching it and posting my reviews. I was trying to get back. I have been watching the show consistently. I didn't stop doing my breakdowns because the show was bad or anything like that. It was just due to scheduling with me. And sometimes it was too late in the week to just put up a random review. But now we're at the season finale, and I watched it on Tuesday night of its release. So I wanted to talk about the show now. A couple days also, I wanted to really bring it in, sleep on it, because it's a murder mystery, trying to make sure all the episodes worked and things like that. So let's get into the season finale and overall get my overall season thoughts at the end. So this was Vivian and Zoe was the title of the episode, even though it was very limited. So very similar to season 1's finale. We kind of kickstart and Danner and begins getting her plan, and her and Anik clearly have an idea on who the killer was. But they do begin the episode with realizing that Zoe was the only person who was not at the after party after the wedding. And now we saw her hiding something earlier in the show. I guess this was the tea. And you kind of thought there was definitely some suspicion for. She's definitely my top 3 or 5 people who I was definitely suspicious. I had a clear person who I thought. Now, of course, you guys are gonna say I'm lying, but I was watching with my mom every weekend. I did say in episode 7, after Ulysses' episode, that he was the killer. Of course, that obviously happens. I'll get into my reasons why I thought that, and if the show really executed that well or not. So they have the whole Zoe thing, which is kind of like a riff on the horror genre, I guess, like the jump scare, gnarly genre. I think they did this a bit better with last season with the character of Chelsea back in season 1, played by Alana Glazer. I think they did a better job with the horror-esque vibe to it. This time it was okay. They had the whole dog joke, and it looks like the person that Edgar was screaming at when he was drunk was the dog falling off the house. I didn't really think it was that interesting, and it made Zoe the least person I would think of now to be the killer after this whole sequence. So Danner and Anik have this whole breakdown. I'm not going to break down each step of why they thought this, but they land on Ulysses being the killer. And Ulysses wasn't even trying to kill Edgar. He was trying to kill his brother, Fang, played by Ken Jeong. And this made sense. Now, I'll tell you why I thought it was Ulysses after his episode, which was episode 7. His episode was the most entertaining part of this season for me. John Cho was the best performance. He was, for me, the biggest cast standout of the new members of the cast in season 2 of The Afterparty. He was a very much out there type of guy, super dramatic for things that are not dramatic. And I thought it was very funny. I never had more fun with this show, this season at least, in episode 7. So the episode ended, and I was really enjoying myself, and I literally told myself at the end of the episode, he did all these stories and all these different stories involved, and none of them came close to ever being involved in what happened on the wedding night and what happened involved in the murder. He completely danced around it, and then I told my mom after, I said, that story has nothing to do with this investigation. A lot of the breakdown, yes, we learned about his relationship with Vivian and Fang. But what I mean is, of the actual murder of killing Edgar, It had nothing to do with it. He had the scene with him and Edgar in episode 7 where Edgar came in and wanted him to fly in. But the whole night when they were doing the after party stuff, he never talked about that whatsoever. And the moment I saw that, I said, he's definitely the killer. That whole story was a lot of distractions, acting like he's so out there. Why would he do this? And for me, right away, I said, he's definitely the killer. Now, I was not thrown off. Isabel was probably my number 2, but after her episode, I was like, clearly not her. I didn't think it was Fang. I definitely didn't think it was Anik or Danner. Travis was kind of out of the woods. Hannah seemed like she was with Grace, so maybe Hannah could be in the mix, but I was really 100% certain after Ulysses' episode, which was episode 7, that he was the killer. And I was on that the whole time. Now, it's funny, when I was watching the episode, and before, I kind of got, when you have a theory or a prediction, especially when you're watching a murder mystery show on who the person is, you do want to be proven right. Not that if the show goes downhill, if they're proven wrong. When Anik and Dana paused before they said who the killer was, I said, oh my God, I got like nervous again. But then it was Ulysses. He by accidentally poisoned Edgar. He was trying to poison Fang at the after party, but they swapped drinks by accident. Overall, though, I thought the joke about the remote thing was very fun with Zoe, but it was just not as interesting as a reveal as I wanted it to be. I think season 1, and overall, this is what's going to be tough about this show if the show continues to move on, is that the first season's so really special to me and really a great season of television because of its freshness, the really flamboyant and comedic cast. I do think that both casts here are excellent, but I think the combination of cast and characters were far superior in season 1. Jasper, played by Ben Schwartz, was my most entertaining part, but you also had Ike Barinholtz, Alana Glazer. One of my favorite characters on the show was Dave Franco's Xavier, who was killed. Tia Sakar. There's so many great characters at that after party in season 1. And I felt like there were some really good cast members here, like John Cho, Paul Walter Hauser, Ken Jeong, Zach Woods. And I like the cast here a lot. They had really good chemistry together, Jack Whitehall as well. But I think the characters were so much more interesting in season 1 than season 2. And for me, there were a lot more possible candidates. Well, I definitely thought it was between in season 1, Jasper was definitely my number 1 suspect heading into the finale, but I just couldn't be 100% sure on that. I was kind of on and off. I thought Danner being a cop last season helped a lot, and having her not be a cop and being an ex-cop, I didn't really love the idea of that this season. There were a lot of things I just felt were a bit off with this season of the show. Now, the filmmaking was great. I thought the writing was really good. It just didn't feel as satisfying as when I watched the season finale of season 1. Because it was really clever how in season 1, Jasper was very over the top, very similar to what Ulysses was, but Jasper was overtly trying to get Anik out of being the killer. And I thought that's what made the season 1 really interesting, especially with the satisfying conclusion, was Anik was the one being targeted, very similar to what Grace was this season. Anik was being targeted from the moment the death happened for some reason. And his only friend who came with him to this after party was the only one sticking by him and defending him. And that turned out to be the person who killed Xavier. That to me was well done, well executed, made sense, easy to follow. I feel like having the death this season be an accident and Ulysses trying to kill Fang. And again, I really love the moment at the end of this episode with Fang and Vivian was really sweet. Anik and Zoe were really sweet together. We ended the episode of the season with Haddish now moving from a book writer, even though she never even wrote a single thing, to then becoming a film director. And then they had like Jaleel White playing Anik, who Danner's now dating. Obviously, that was very funny. Elijah Wood being Jasper, I thought was great casting. And then Kiki Palmer playing Danner. I thought all those castings were really fabulous, and they did a great job with the castings of the actors playing our people. And also Gemma Chan as Zoe was also a lot of fun as well. So I really like the group that they got playing the people in season 1. Where we go from here, I think you could easily keep moving forward with the show. it does need for me still to have Chris Miller heavily in the mix, both as the creator and one of the writers of the show. He and having him and Lord still be a major part of this project is the only way I think the show can continue. And I do think right now we cannot have another season of Anik and Zoe having another random murder as somewhere they are. Now, I'm really cool if we move forward with the idea of Anik being a detective, maybe with Danner, or if Danner wants to be a film director moving forward, maybe Anik can be our full-time detective moving forward in the show. But I don't think we can have another situation where Anik and Zoe are out somewhere, a murder happens, and they're in part of the investigation. I think that has to end with this season. Because it brings up too many logic issues. So I do think if we move forward, I really would move forward with Anik, who's awesome. My favorite character on this season, played by Sam Richardson. He's phenomenal, a perfect lead for this type of show. Him to be the detective moving forward. If not, I would love a show with just him and Danner, played by Tiffany Haddish. If Haddish wants to go back to continue the show, her and Anik and Sam Richardson and Tiffany Haddish had great chemistry this season. I would keep the two of them going moving forward. Maybe, Zoe pops in there for cameos and things, but I do think if they're going to move forward with returning characters in a new murder, I think we really do need Anik and Danner to be the ones, and not Sam and Anik and Zoe running into another murder. I don't think the show will feel as fresh. But overall, again, I liked this season of the After Party. It was not great like the first season was, but I think it was a really solid to good season of television. Some really fun moments. I still love the idea, the concept of the show, but overall, it just didn't feel as satisfying as season 1 did. So that's my thoughts on the After Party season 2. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Tell me why in the comment section. Like the video, and I'll see you guys soon.